Hello, initiates. A few months ago, we found out that our friend Jitarth Jadeja passed away. If you didn't know Jitarth, he was a former conspiracist and follower of QANON. He's really one of the first former conspiracy theorists that I came across in the media, and he is very much an inspiration to me speaking out. Back in August 2022, myself, Stephanie Kemmerer, who is another former conspiracist, and Jitarth, we all sat down for a conversation, and we decided to discuss our unusual beliefs together. This video was taken off of YouTube, sadly, so I just wanted to re-upload it here for people to hear the wonderful force that was Jitarth Jadeja. Rest in peace, my brother.
All right, this is Steph Kemmerer. I'm the one that's a big dumb dork. And I'm with Brent and Jitarth Jadeja, and
I'm even bigger, dumber dork at 6'6".
I would like to point out that I am the dumbest dork because I am late to this, even though I woke up at 4 a.m.
I was up at 4 a.m. and it's 11 p.m.
It's 8 or 8 a.m.
No, it's 11 p.m.
Oh.
No, it's 3
maybe
p.m.
Maybe in England, dude. Like, get out of here, bro.
Wow.
By the way, so we were just talking about 9/11, and how insane it was. And I preempted the point by saying that I cannot imagine to me, the use of force multipliers reminds me of the Battle of Thermopylae, where you had like whatever, a few hundred or thousand like Greeks holding off like, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Persians in that chokehold. And like how that's talked about thousands of years later. This is what this reminds me of, because this was such a creative solution to their problem of, the America's bad, whatever. Like flying planes into buildings, it was so unheard of, so outside the box, so crazy that they were able to plant it in caves and achieve it with box cutters.
Wait. Original? Do you even Northwood, bro?
Bro, I get it. Look, I get it. But they didn't try. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Leonardo da Vinci had a plan for a fucking flying machine in the 1540s. So give a fuck, dude. Someone else thought of it before, bro.
There you go.
I know, and that's the there was actually I read the very long, just delightful entry on Rational Wiki about 9/11. And there was another plot that was learned of between 93 and 01. And I don't even remember the name of the plot. I only learned about it. The Bajinka plot. Yeah. If I had known that, just like we were saying, it was I don't even remember what it was, but all I know
oh, bro, I had this great point and it was amazing, but I don't remember what it was about. Like,
the point is, like, if someone had mentioned this as much as they mentioned Northwood, I would have been like, maybe this isn't an inside job.
Yeah, but to be fair, like, I knew who Osama bin Laden was in 2001 when the towers were hit. I was interested in global geopolitics. My stepdad was in the military. I had to pay attention to that stuff. So I was interested in the Al-Qaeda movement, basically. I saw them bomb USS Cole. I saw them bomb the embassies in Africa. So on 9/11, I knew straight away, oh, this is Osama bin Laden. But something still changed in my mind over the next 2 years. Like, being showed these 9/11 documentaries that kind of made me start thinking, okay, maybe Osama was the perfect person to frame.
True. true. And it's not like they didn't. I just don't think they needed to go and frame it to this extent.
Oh, no,
Like-
they didn't. No.
Like they literally just could have invaded, got rid of the Taliban and just made some flimsy excuse and like, oh, dude, women's rights or something. But on top of that, I actually thought it was very sus because on the same day, right, that 9/11 happened, there was supposed to be like, there was supposed to be a congressional there was congressional testimony. It was like either that day or the day before that there was like a 7 to 12 trillion dollar worth of funds from government funds that had just been they're lost. They don't know where it is. Like they had to, like the government, like Department of Treasury or something had to admit that. And it was like that would have been such big news, right? Like the government, it's like, bro, where the fuck did this money go? And that's 2001. Like, there's not an overload of information that there is right now, so people have paid attention to it. And I remember thinking, I was like, bro, that's a little convenient. On top of that, that would have been such a big story that you would have needed, especially because Republicans were in charge, that you would have needed an emotional story in order to counter that, especially because it's about numbers and budgets and people usually find that boring, but then planes into buildings. So I remember thinking that that's a crazy coincidence, but then that's exactly what it is. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. Because there's always a congressional hearing or there's always something going on. I brought this up recently, like there's always a drill going on because there's drills going on in the military every damn day. Like I grew up in the Air Force, so we had drills on our base every single day. One day there was a bomb attack. Like, does that mean that there is a false flag because there was a drill the day before? No, it's just because there's always drills going on.
Well, there were several drills
There were
going on at the time. And I remember one of it's sad, but it's also really, 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 can I curse here?
Yes.
Okay. It's also really, really, really fucking funny. The one boy, I think it was from NORAD on the day of 9/11, the one guy going, is this a drill or?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, dude. Like it was shocking. I remember that day. That was the day my childhood died. That was the day. Yeah, my childhood died that day. I was 13.
And I was just going to say how old?
Well,
13.
I was 13 or 14, 2001. Yeah. I was 14.
I was working at the Express Times, which was a small 50,000 read paper in Easton, Pennsylvania. And there's a bit of kismet in that because the Express Times was a merger between the Easton Express newspaper and the Globe Times newspaper. And
that's great, dude. Can we talk about you and 9/11 and not this newspaper doing it? Right? That's dude. That's
the cute thing.
40 was it a bit more of the like
the cute thing is that before the Globe Times newspaper folded, my dad had worked for them. And then I ended up working for the newspaper that grew out of that. But I was at the newspaper on the day of 9/11 and I usually didn't come in until noon. But that day I was sitting in for the archivist. So that's why I was there early.
And early at work at your newspaper. Okay.
And I was there as everything happened. And
tell me what, take me through play by play. I really want to hear this from both your perspectives because I woke up to the news, right? I'm in Australia. Like I woke up to the news already like 8 hours old, right? Like
okay,
what happened? When the first plane hit?
Someone burst in the library and said, oh my God, a plane just hit World Trade Center.
You're in
like, oh, that's a bummer. And then there was like noise out in the newsroom. So I went out in the newsroom and they had CNN on and we all saw the second hit.
Oh my God.
Live.
Watching live.
Yes.
We saw the second plane hit live. And then that was when we knew that it was bad. When that second plane hit, the Pentagon happened third. And then
under attack. You knew that.
And I lived in Pennsylvania. And then when I heard later on that one of those planes went down, like 6 hours from me.
Yeah. You
Right,
might not agree.
And here's the best thing. I had, this was 2001. I had an early cell phone and it was in my back pocket and I went to use the bathroom. My cell phone fell into the toilet on 9/11. The worst day to lose your cell phone.
That's and what a newspaper to a newspaper, bro. Like you're in a newsroom. That is legit the craziest place to be, actually. Legitimate.
I was
Except
pulling
watching
shit
from
off
a
the
building.
wire.
Right across like
Shit off the wire. I
Yeah.
knew shit before anybody else did. I was watching this, like, because the AP news articles, they'll publish them themselves, but every like newspaper has access to the AP wire. So I'm reading these articles before they're making it in the newspaper, and they actually yelled like that we had already put out our morning edition. It was all hands on deck. We put out a second edition. We redid section A of the entire paper, and it was all hands on deck. And the head of the pagination department, she just stopped and she looked up really serious and she goes, "This is a before and after moment." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Our lives will be defined as before this day and after this." I'm like, "Holy shit, you're right."
100%. I've thought that forever.
And I even said to someone who worked in the editorial office, I looked at her, I went out for a smoke break and she didn't smoke, but she came out with me and I looked at her and I go, "Dana, I think this was an inside job." And she goes, "I think you might be right."
Brent, what about you, dude? What was your experience?
Yeah, my mom came knocking up at my door and said, "Oh my God, have you seen the news?" And this was after the first plane hit. So I was like, "No, what's going on?" So we went downstairs, started watching the news with her. And we were just kind of chatting, like, was it a pilot? Was he drunk, or what happened? Was it an accident? What's going on? And like with that, obviously the second plane comes into view and hits the plane, and hits the building. We both just froze. Like, was that a replay of what happened in the first? No, that wasn't. That was an actual plane because the other one's still on fire. What? Wow. It was very shocking. But my mom was like, "What the hell's going on?" And instantly I was just like, that was Osama. That's this guy. So it's kind of the conversation we were having earlier. Like I just knew that it was going to be him, and I just watched the news basically for the next 24 hours, I think, just watching the news coming in. Obviously the buildings come down and everything. Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah. Like you said,
Exactly
like you were like before then, Osama bin Laden was like a what's the word? Like a
phantom.
Like he's a regional villain. Like him.
Yeah.
Like if you're in and around Afghanistan and the Middle East, like if you're in that kind of space, like him, right?
Yeah.
But he's not he wasn't like a household name. Like Saddam Hussein was a household name, right? Like Idi Amin was a household name, right? Like those kinds of people were household, like Kim Jong Un or Il, right? Like people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he wasn't like that. So, but yeah, like you said, dude, like I can imagine picking up on it's not a surprise to me that someone like you would definitely know it was him. And I think, bro, my experience is so different. Like it's actually so different, but it's just as bizarre because I literally woke up, right? I was a school day, random normal school day. I think it was like a Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I was about to go take a shower, go straight to the shower, and then my sister and my mom, like they were like, "Oh, dude, you know what's happened on the news, right?" And then I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Oh, there was a plane crash into the World Trade Center," and I'm like, I didn't give a fuck, dude. I was like, "Bro, shut up! I need to take a shower. I'm just like, the planes, give a fuck, bro. It's not what? It's some dumbass pilot." I took a shower, blah, 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 came out, and then the TV was off. Like, my sister was like at school. My parents were gone, and it's like, it was funny. Anyway, so I turned it on, and I was like, "Bro, wait, what?" And the buildings had already collapsed, right? And they were showing, and it was American news. And I was like, why is there like an American news on every channel? Like there was like, there's like 5 main Australian TV free-to-air channels at that time. And every one of them had like either Fox News, another one had like MSNBC, like their partners, right? Live streaming American news. And just looking at it, I was like, bro, what the fuck, dude? What? And then, I was so shocked. I pulled out my Walkman, found some shitty batteries. Like there's a morning comedy show that I listened to on the bus to school. No one was laughing, bro. Every single person the comedy host, my friends on the bus, every single person was only talking about 9/11. Like the comedy show, they didn't play any music. It was a call-in show all of a sudden. People were very serious. And for the next, dude, at school, bro, I remember we were literally watching TV all day. Like we didn't do any work in any class. And my English teacher, Miss Taylor, who was the dopiest bitch in the whole world. Like she's the worst English teacher. She's so unimpressive. And she's like, we were watching it in her class. And I remember she was like, you will remember this day for the rest of your lives. And no one else had grasped the magnitude of this, how big that day.
It was our generation's Kennedy.
Bro, it was the entire world's Kennedy. Kennedy was crazy, but like this affected the whole world, bro. Like that.
It was a moment that the world stood still.
That French newspaper that said "We are all Americans." That's exactly how everyone felt.
But the thing, as an American, okay, we have a Brit, we have an Australian, we have an American. As an American, looking back on it, I mean, not necessarily of this magnitude, but where was this coverage with Rwanda?
Shut up, dude. I hate when people say that. I hate with Rwanda.
America is not.
Where are you going to get electricity from in the middle of a jungle? Like, what are you talking about? Rwanda?
What I'm saying is that there are other countries all around the world where 5,000 people.
Okay, I'll tell you why. This is an American thing. I'll tell you exactly why. Americans, they are always bemused why people care about America and why other countries like, oh, dude, why don't you like talk about this thing that happened here? And it's like, because you guys are so self-involved, you know so little about the rest of the world. Like it's not like everyone knows everything about America. Like Australians don't know jack shit, but at least they know the news headline. Americans are so disproportionately ignorant of the rest of the world, and
we are
fuck right because this is why. America is not just a superpower in terms of military, like for sure, right? But China, like it's not going to take over the whole world because its cultural power, like is like never before. It's like the Roman Empire on crack. If the Roman Empire went and Greece like extended around to the whole world, like you've got people in Ukraine listening to NWA, okay? After George Floyd died, there were Black Lives Matter protests in Melbourne, in London, as I'm sure Brent knows. My idiot friend who doesn't know a shit about politics went there because it was trendy and everyone was doing it. And he wore like a doobie, and he wore like a Rastafarian hat, the idiot. And like Roe v. Wade was front page news. America is a cultural like monster. Your culture.
That is so true.
Hollywood, Wall Street, all of that, bro.
We are evil.
Shut up.
No.
You're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. I could not disagree more. Like, I think that's dumb. Like, America does bad things. No shit, bro. I can't imagine any empire committing genocide every now and again.
Yeah, remember, I'm British. We did that shit first.
Genocide.
No, exactly. Like,
civilizations come and go, don't they? All these empires fall, whatever.
Yeah, but yeah. True. I don't know when America will fall. Like, if it does fall, I do think whoever said it was like, yeah, it will only fall from the inside.
It will be because of the internet. Ultimately.
Yeah.
It'll be because of conspiracies.
Look, it won't be. It won't not be because of the internet. Like, you're right. Like, I'm sure the internet will.
Well, I mean, we all, I think maybe Jitarth might have been too young for this, but even for a time shortly after 9/11, and someone referred to it as a mall kiosk version of conspiracy theories. Once the internet became more readily available, it was like when I was like 18 or 19, I had to go to pet stores to get jewelry. I had to go to sex shops to find clothing. Now I can go to the mall and go to Hot Topic. And that's what's happened with conspiracy theories, where it used to be maybe you were on a bulletin board online, and maybe, you were chatting on IRC or Firefly or something like that. But mainly it was magazines and fanzines and just
subscription
your book.
magazine.
And now it's everywhere. You don't have to work for it. All the work that I did to look like someone who shops at Hot Topic, I'm
That's
like,
the worst
it's
thing, bro.
offensive. It's
Dude, as soon as all the bloody boomers got on Facebook, as soon as the internet became mainstream and it wasn't just for losers, like, bro, it got popular and it got ruined. Like everything. These goddamn normies, they ruined conspiracies. They ruined Black Mirror. They ruined fucking everything, dude. Like all the stuff we'd learned, Goodwin's Law, like, you remember that about, as soon as, like, as T equals infinity, the probability of someone mentioning the Nazis or whatever or Hitler on the internet gets closer to 1. And everyone knew that was like the biggest faux pas on the internet in any discussion. It was like you couldn't. And now, look, bro, people are unironically talking about it. I deleted a comment on QAnon casualties today because someone was like, "Oh, dude, QAnon beliefs all end in race and like Nazi ideology," and I was like, I didn't delete it because it was wrong, right? Like I don't agree, but like it's not completely wrong. But I was like, bro, why can't we? Like, how this is such a Goodwin must be rolling over in his grave. He's not dead, but he will roll over when he does that. I hate that. Like we have rules there. We had rules and we had a social structure, and these goddamn normies and all the journalists got on Twitter. So now we have this stupid feedback cycle where journalists are now like getting influenced by Twitter bloody, and like Twitter bloody culture, and every website has its own stupid culture. And then they're regurgitating that out into the real world. And then all of a sudden, everyone else has to deal with it. And so then it becomes even more on Twitter. And then it's round and round, bro. I don't think any journalist should be on Twitter. That's what I'm saying.
Look at me. I'm a legitimate journalist. I'm going to quote Ron Filipowski in my article.
Yeah. No, how could you not be impacted by the social media you spend time on? Like, if you spend video games, why would you not be? If I was playing World of Warcraft, why would I not also like kind of be impacted by that culture of like, oh, like why go outside? All these losers, people with girlfriends. If I was on 8chan and Reddit, so like they're human. It's understandable, but like, god damn, dude, I wish journalists. I hate Twitter so much. Also because I'm like I suck at it. Like I'm so bad, dude. I'm so bad, bro. I try and like I get so pissed off, and then I try and do it again. Like the last, dude, I've had like 10 posts in a row or something where I've got 0 likes, like literally 0 likes on Twitter, and I have like 600 followers, and I'm like, bro, I shouldn't have got a couple of pity likes. Like, how is that possible,
pity likes,
dude? I'm like, this is weird. Like, I'm like, bro, I must be really bad. Like, I feel like I should get some recognition out of this.
I mean, you got to talk to Anderson fucking Cooper. I mean,
yeah, dude, what the hell? Why do people expect me to say other dumb shit? I do it all the time. Like, come on. Ironically, like so it's actually hilarious. And the worst thing about it is this is exactly what it's like on my normal personal social media, where I always just make some stupid joke. And like 4 people like it. And like if 10 people like it, I'm like, bro, that was a good one. Like, and I don't mind because it's so niche, right? Usually. And like, I love it. And the people who like it will really get it. But dude, on Twitter, it's like, bro, I'm in the QAnon community. I'm like, I don't know what people want from me. I think they want to like empathize with QAnon followers. Like for me to talk about like, that they're all victims. like like from a certain perspective. They're all also victims. They join this cult. Like they're not impressive people like I certainly wasn't. I'm still, but like more impressive than I was before at least. It's not saying much, but even then, it's like, bro, these people, like, I don't think people understand. Like, do you guys get this feeling that when when it comes to conspiracy theorists, like normies tend to like otherize it. Like there's like, oh dude, it's like he's mentally ill. Even when it's just like a school shooter or something. It's always like he's mentally ill, he's crazy, he's off the roll, like he didn't take his medication, like blah 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 blah. And it always irritates me because all that's your psychological defense coming up in order to stop yourself from dealing with the fact that he's not crazy. He's not smearing shit on the wall. He's not throwing up and sucking his own dick. Okay. He's not in a mental. He pays his bills. They do these things. They live. They eat. They like
functioning.
Like yeah. So like, what's the problem is that from his perspective, shooting up a fucking school seemed purely logical. Seemed like the rational thing to do. Now, what would it take to get someone into that position? And by not looking at environmental factors or things outside their control as well, you are just saying that no amount of external pressure could get you to do some kind of thing like that. Like no imaginable, hypothetical nature of the world or any variable that would change, any situation could make you do something like that, which it absolutely would. Absolutely would. And on top of that, I'm not saying like in this world, in this situation, in this current, like, whatever economy, like, I'm not saying in our reality that everyone's capable of this because that's plainly not true, right? What I'm saying is that if you had an infinite amount of realities to choose from and alternate universes, yeah, man, I could find a lot where you, the Redditor who's calling this guy crazy, is a mass murderer, school shooter, Osama bin Laden kind of person. And that's why I hate about otherizing. But anyway, Brent, what do you think?
Yeah, it's just trying to stick them in boxes, isn't it? I think just trying to, in a way, they're being conspiracy theorists as well because they're, trying to find an easy answer to what these people are. Definitely,
There is
that's all I can see.
There's never an easy answer.
I think there is. I think it's that these people are, dude, they're human. They're just like you and me. So why did we believe in conspiracies? Like, really? Because we wanted to know an answer. Like, things didn't make sense. Like, the answers we were getting was strange. There was like, we were scared. We were like really probably like not in control of our lives. Like,
the world is fucked up. Like, the people in power seem to be in power because of their corruption.
And we want to do good things.
Yeah.
We want to make the world a better place, but we are unable to because, we can't wake up early or we love weed too much or some shit like that, right? And this is a way we can do it in order to also compensate for our lack of social hierarchy. Like things like no one believes in a conspiracy. They believe in the truth. It always starts out with the truth. It's like the cult.
Yeah.
It's like the Nixium cult documentary where the guy says, no one joins a cult, they join a good thing.
Yeah.
And people don't want to listen to that. And it's like, bro, you guys believe in fucking Russiagate, dude. Like, what do you mean? Like, what the fuck? That was fucking stupid as shit. That's still stupid.
Back to the cult talk though. Like a lot of when I talk to them now and say, I compare my belief system to like being in a cult, they act like, well, there's no cult leader. And I just think, there isn't exactly a cult leader except for the truth.
Yeah,
that's the leader of this cult. It's the leader of this cult, except for it's your truth that you go and seek.
100%. And first of all, like there are cult leaders. They're just different. The admins of the fucking WhatsApp groups or the fucking the leader of this particular denomination of church. Like they're all there. There's proxy leaders everywhere. They come.
They're they're the influence, aren't they? Influencers. They're the ones that like bring you into the cult.
Yes. Your friend,
Simon Shack.
Yeah.
Simon Shack, September 2. I was no planer. I actually believe no planes ever
Really?
were even, yeah.
Wow, dude. What did you think?
Even though
Saw this.
you saw this and you was in the newsroom.
Well, and somehow,
That's why I find
But-
like your story is very interesting perspective, where like where you was that day and then how you came to believe something completely opposite to what you actually saw. You know, I never went with the no plane theory because I saw planes go into the building, but what got me was like the controlled demolition aspect of it. That made me start to
Wasn't
believe
there
it.
like, didn't they actually like did control demolish one of the buildings because it was like on the verge of falling over anyway or something?
No,
Ah, okay.
no, they all
I
came
probably
down.
just made that up in my head for some reason. But what do you guys think of this idea? Because I have this hypothesis that before someone falls down into a conspiracy hole or starts getting, and maybe any kind of radicalization and extreme behavior, is like there is something traumatic that happens to them. There is a trauma that occurs. Now, for some people, it's like losing their job, or their wife divorced them, or they broke up with their
or the act itself.
or literally
itself.
I'm watching planes fly into buildings on September 11, right?
That's what I think it is.
Yeah. Of Donald Trump being elected. That was very traumatic for people. And I think with COVID, I don't think people, like, it wasn't just that people, like, yeah, dude, like 20% will move online a little more, 20% more, internet usage and whatever. Like, but people are like online every day. Like, who gives a shit? But I think people forget how traumatizing it was for everyone. Like, the fact that we went from, I remember, like, dude, like December 20th around then when it was first reported, right? And 6 weeks later, we went through this whole period of like, oh, dude, there's like a pandemic in China. It's like, oh, classic China. Oh, dude, it's like spread around there. I'm like, well, I guess it'll be like SARS or whatever. They had everyone's like, oh, dude, it's, the COVID, like the flu is worse, in denial. Like it was just literally the stages of grief. I was arguing with people on a trip in March, or like late Feb, on a wedding trip to India with a whole group of people about COVID, and like not everyone was like, bro, I was being ridiculed so hard because I kept saying it was so bad and like we have an issue, and like on top of that, when borders started shutting down, people shut down countries and borders. That got traumatic for people, and there was no. Bro, we had never found a vaccine for any kind of COVID before, any kind of coronavirus. It was, no one knew anything about it. And I think people forget how traumatic that was. But I'm sorry, that was my long-winded story. My whole point is that, did you guys have a preceding trauma, maybe in the weeks or months that led up to your fall down into the conspiracy rabbit hole? We're waiting for, already know steps. It's like watching 9/11.
Yeah, let Brent.
No. I didn't actually have anything. The only thing I could think of was, I guess, 9/11. But I think it was just my my interest in, I guess, political conspiracies. I did like the JFK sort of thing. I liked the X-Files,
Okay.
I mean, I guess you don't really know much of my story, so I might as well tell you more of it. My first introduction to it was I was just messing about on DC++, a file sharing site. And I came across a hub that was documentaries and lectures. So I went in there and I found like a truth folder in someone's computer. I opened it up and it just had a ton of documentaries in it. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll just download these. There were some 9/11 ones in there. There was something about something Children of Matrix. I don't know what it was. At that time, I thought, oh, that might be to do with the Matrix movie. Cool.
Little did you know.
I know, right? So I download this stuff. And the first thing I end up watching is Millennium 2000 with Jordan Maxwell and Anthony J. Hilder. And they start talking about like the Freemason involvement in political parties and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. And then I decided to watch one of these 9/11 documentaries because I thought, oh, yeah, I want to know more about what happened then. because that was a really interesting day. So I started watching that, and that's where the conspiracy starts really forming, like showing me the controlled demolition, showing me the drills being run and all these other conspiracies. And that instantly really sold me to some sort of conspiracy going on. You know, within about, say, 6 years of that, I started to believe more, like sort of the stuff that Pizzagate and QAnon started to believe as well. Like basically there was a black magic cabal running the world. They did rituals. They pretty much ran everything. They ran the governments. They ran the entertainment industry. They even ran like the criminal networks and the religious institution. Every single thing. They were a part of absolutely everything. You know, it took a while to get to that point, but it starts off like actually believing in like the 9/11 stuff, you know, going back to watching other stuff. And then, like I said, I started watching this Children of the Matrix lecture by David Icke. And he's talking about, that's it. Well, 9 hours, I think it was.
Dude, it's also very entertaining, by the way. Like people, I think they misunderstand, especially like that kind of stuff, right? Like before Q really came along. It's like very entertaining. Like it's almost, it's like, bro, that's crazy. Like that keeps happening. Like you're gonna hit a dopamine, and like, you know, and it's like it's such a ludicrous tale that it's almost like, bro, what if this guy's right? Like, what if he's right, bro? But just
and
what
if Alex can't get you from the right, David's gonna hook you from the left. Because David is out there and he's preaching love and kindness and oneness, and
And that's
one way or another, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, that was what was appealing to me, because I didn't like agree with the lizard thing, but I thought everything else he was talking about was pretty spot on. You know, I've always been quite a progressive. I was a progressive kid. You know, I was a bit of a punk. I've always just been, you know, progressive basically. But even at that time, I felt like Alex Jones and Bill Cooper and all of them were hiding them being right wing, because they used to like pick on Bush all the time. You know, it was always like shitting on Bush. And then when Obama comes in, like they just started shitting on Obama. And I just thought, oh yeah, that's what they do, because whoever's in charge is, you know, shit, because the left and the right doesn't matter.
I'm above the left-right paradigm.
Yeah, I believed that for so long. Now, though, I watch it, I can see they just do not even lie that they are right-wing populists. And what? Like, I'm just surprised.
I don't think left and right matter really anymore, because if you look at, I generally think this is purely a culture war scenario. I honestly don't. It had nothing to do with policy. The policies flip back and forth. Trump will do something, and then Democrats will do something, the same thing except worse. Like 4 years later, no one gives a shit, dude. Like, bro, we're just now in opposition to each other. And the thing is though, right? You're right. The people, at least on the left, when you got like anarcho-capitalists, they're talking about like the CIA infiltrating leftist groups. It's like, look, at least this did happen, okay? And it's not like it didn't happen before. There is like, whether it's happening now or not, it did happen. And B, at least their fundamental ideology it is about a central system of control, all right? Centralized authority, okay, that can make good decisions. If you're a libertarian on the right, the idea of a cabal of small group of people controlling the whole world is fundamentally so wrong compared to what you believe everything else, okay? That there's no way that you can explain how that happens. And the only way they can do it is, dude, bro, quantum computing and aliens and dude, magic, bro, magic, dude, Harry Potter, like that's the thing that really irritates me about like Alex Jones and all this shit. It's like, bro, if the fucking central bank cannot stop if they cannot predict inflation, which they create, how the fuck do you expect them to predict anything, dude? What do you mean? Okay, they can't predict what they're gonna have for lunch.
But they get you with those little half steps when you hear someone say something like, right, Dan and Jordan say it on Knowledge Site all the time. Jordan does.
Mm.
Money isn't real. That's true. And that is true. And that's one of those half steps that hook you in. And Brent and I were talking before we were recording about zeitgeist, how that seems to be the thing that hooks everyone. And zeitgeist, and look, I hate Bill Maher. I do. But Religulous was very entertaining. And Bill Maher does a little montage, and it's the same essential montage that they do in the first zeitgeist, which is, Jesus was really a representation of this God and this God and this God and this God and this God. And then that's why zeitgeist is so clever, because if you're not going to buy into the religion bullshit that we're selling you, which it is, then we're going to sell you on financial bullshit, and then they present so many different ideas that you're going to agree with one of those ideas, even if you don't agree with all of them.
No, that's correct.
That's what sends you spiraling.
And the initial diagnosis of a problem is not the issue. Like, if someone talks about fiat currency, it's like, yeah, you're right. We're not on the gold standard. Okay. But then, there's always like a nuance to that, because it's like, it's not just that people believe that, it's worth something. It's like, bro, when they went off it, okay, like in 1970 or whatever, it's not like, bro, people have the experience of 20 years of, oh, dude, everything's working fine, so it doesn't really matter or whatnot, right? But like, it is backed by something. It's backed by oil, because all purchases of any oil, because thanks to the Saudis, has to be in US dollars, right? Although that's changing. And B, dude, it's backed by the US Army, dude. Try and not pay them. Like Panama, try not to pay them. We'll see what happens. Like, you better pay, bro. What do you mean? Also, like, and I love economics. Like, I'm obsessed with economics. I love it so much. I'm in a toxic relationship with economics where I can't do it professionally because I get too obsessed with it. So that's why I do data analytics. But I love it, and I agree, dude. Like, fiat currency is bad and all that stuff, right? I hate the reserve bank, central banks. They should all be fucking abolished. Yeah, and you can't, just because you diagnose a problem, you can't make up your own solution or your own, like, can't just make something up to explain it. It's like, bro, there's a lot of explanations that you might not have considered and not know. Can't just make something up and replace it with whatever else you want. That's yeah. And I did all of this, dude. I did all of this, even with the right-wing thing about libertarians. It took me over a year before that thought even crossed my mind after I left QAnon. After multiple interviews of talking about it and thinking about it, okay, I thought about it a lot. And it took me like 13, 14 months to just put those simple ideas together. It's like, wait a second, this is actually contrary to my economic perception and really how reality works.
I mean, the level of cognitive dissonance that all three of us have experienced could fuel the mining of one single Bitcoin.
Dude, I know. I genuinely, at the same time, I believe that the ends don't justify the means, right? And the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I thought I believed those two things fundamentally. And at the same time, I was advocating for a military martial law, a military dictatorship in the United States. Because that's the fundamental core of QAnon, right? Like, there's lots of external things, like, lots of different beliefs, and everyone believes different things, right? Depending on, it's like, dude, I hate to put through it. It's like different sects of religion. But the fundamental thing is, like, if people are like, oh, dude, what's QAnon and stuff? It's like, okay, this is how you differentiate a conservative who has QAnon beliefs from actual QAnon person. And that is, if they believe in the storm, like the Great Awakening, that there is a specific set of things that will happen, that there'll be an unsealing of sealed indictments, a declaration of martial law, military tribunals for, the cabal, followed by the public executions, and then everyone will live happily ever after because that's how all revolutions work, right? And I was like, bro, I would have been so happy to see Hillary Clinton dragged to a town square and publicly like hung. Like I was like, bro, what the actual fuck? I would have been happy. That would have been that would have been like the opposite of 9/11 for me. I thought she was so evil. It would have been like a positive 9/11. Like,
And
I'd be like,
they're
no.
not even American either.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, bro, like everyone, but apparently, like people are changing their personalities all the time. Like this is the least thing, but I'm very defensive because you're 100% right, dude. I'm very obsessed with politics and culture, and I'm not American at all. But whatever.
No, it's just interesting, like that you would be so invested in that idea, and you're not like even living in that country, you know?
It was, dude, like I had been to America twice, right? Like, and I don't like that doesn't mean anything really. Like I was there on exchange in New York, in Jamaica, in Queensboro. So, but yeah, so like it was Bernie Sanders in the 2016 election, like because, like I said, I love economics, dude. I have loved it since like year 10, bro. Like ever since I got 48.5 out of 50 in an economics exam. It was my best mark I'd ever got in high school ever. And I was like, bro, dude, this is the one for me. And inequality is a big thing in economics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Bernie was the only one talking about inequality. He was talking about student loans as well, which things like that, because that always, bro, student loans, it's not the loan, bro. The fact that they charge interest is so ludicrous.
Capital. It's just found it.
Bro, it's just, forget that. Like, in Australia, we have student loans, and bro, they get expensive. Okay, they get like not as expensive as yours, but like some of mine at one point was like $100,000, right? But it's only indexed to inflation. There's no interest charged on it, and it's not. I don't have to. It gets automatically taken out of my salary once I start earning over like 48,000. If I don't earn over 48,000 a year ever, I don't pay it, and it's only a little bit, right? But there's no interest charged on it because if you've got two people who did the same degree and one gets a job worth 80 and one gets a job worth 50, the poorer person pays more. The less you earn, the more you pay with interest, which is completely the opposite of what the whole point is, which is to encourage high earnings in order to get greater tax revenue out of the person over their period of life. So Bernie Sanders was talking about these things. And also, bro, Hillary Clinton, dude, the Clinton Foundation, that's not even a conspiracy, bro. That's right there. That's like some WikiLeaks. It's like, bro, it's right there. No one says it's wrong. Okay. No one says it didn't happen.
Like I used to tell people in the run up to 2016 election, and I was still full blown conspiracy theorist at the time. I used to post on Facebook that, oh, this coming election is a lot like Aliens versus Predator. No matter who wins, we all lose.
Dude. Bro, Donald Trump winning was the funniest shit, dude. Like, that was when I stopped caring about Australian politics completely. Because, like I said, it's not hard to go from economics to politics. And I've followed Australian politics like all the time, right? I just find it interesting. And then when Donald Trump won, I just stopped giving a shit. Because, like, at the same time, there was some ridiculous scandal in Australia where a few politicians, like, it was something so stupid. It was like they weren't born in this country. It was something to do with the birth certificate. It was like someone ticked the wrong box. Like literally it was something like that. And there was a big scandal in Australia. And I was like, bro, this is pathetic. Are you serious? Who gives a shit, dude? Like, and America was dealing with all these like big cultural issues, these social issues, these economic issues, which is prevalent in a lot of Western economy. And yeah, and plus Donald Trump was so fucking entertaining, dude. Gee, like, bro, do you remember that Republican primary? That was like the best time. That was the best time. Those were the
clown car. There were like 20 different guys that were running.
Yeah, and he's on like Late Show and shit. Like he's getting propped up, right? And like everyone, like, dude, remember when he's talking about Rosie O'Donnell? Remember that joke? First debate, and he's like, and Megyn Kelly's like, Mr. Trump, you have called women fat pigs, ugly. And he's like, only Rosie O'Donnell, and cracked up. And the whole point of that debate is like, you're not meant to make sound. All right. And the whole place is roaring. He flew his content through his wife like ugly. And then he like flew over his press conference in his plane. Like he just did all this shit. And to like, bro, he destroyed like Marco Rubio. He destroyed the other candidate. Like Lying Ted, like little Marco. Like it was a great time to be alive. Like, come on, can we like that was before, like at least let's admit that Republican primary was entertaining as shit.
It was yakety sax level or theme song from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Bro, it was so funny. It was so entertaining. Bro, I watched like every debate. I watched some of those debates again, like multiple times. I watched replays of election night on different networks, just like laughing at how crazy it was. Like watching of like Fox. I watched it on Fox News initially, right? And then like watching it on CNN, that was kind of funny. But like, bro, I was watching it on the funniest was like the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Cause like they were all very softly spoken and very calm, and they could not understand what was. But like, yeah, I think
it fucked me up watching the results come in. And I didn't vote because I figured that,
oh, you fucking
bitch. No, I believe that all presidents were biased.
Then why do you care? Then what do you mean? Why does it matter? Why not? What's the difference between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton then? What's the difference between Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders? What if that's what you believe? What's the difference?
I was hoping that Bernie would get in.
Yeah, but if that's what you believe, what's the difference? Unless I shouldn't be too harsh on you. Like, I have a big problem with Americans not voting. Like
I'm a simple American,
bro. Like just on a slight tangent, my like 16th of the show, like literally, like if you voting should absolutely be compulsory. Like the state doesn't only, you also have an obligation to the state. Just because you're a citizen doesn't mean you can just take. Rights come with the responsibilities, and you do not have the right not to follow the law. You do not have the right not to pay your taxes. And you should not have the right not to vote. Otherwise, so as bad as I feel for Americans in America, the fact that 50% of people don't vote, that they just don't vote. It's like, bro, there is a limit. There's a definite limit to my sympathy. So I'm like, bro, fuck you then, dude. Fuck you. Like, dude, all the parties are the bro, so what? Who gives a shit, dude? No, like, you're right. Your vote's not going to do anything. It might not change in your lifetime, but for fuck's sake, dude, it definitely won't change if you don't vote. Like, there's 0% chance. Like, you might be 0.1.
But see, that's what the conspiracy theorists want you to think.
That's bullshit.
They want no, and they want even if Alex Jones and David Icke weren't coming out and saying it directly that your vote doesn't count. They have you trained to believe that these people are chosen by an elite group.
Yeah.
And I wasn't into like the
that's true.
New World Order or Illuminati, but I did believe that they were chosen and our vote didn't count. And honestly, even if I had voted,
did you ever try it?
Because of the Electoral College, California is always going to go blue. So literally my single vote would not have even mattered.
Doesn't matter, bro. I'm sorry. That does not matter, dude. Bro, I live in Australia. I lived in the very same.
We have to get rid of the Electoral College.
No, that's the dumbest thing. That's so dumb. Count. Okay, explain why. Tell me why.
Because a lot of the electoral votes come from states that have a fewer population.
No,
and
that's
also because of the fewer population.
I'm sorry, that's the Senate. That's not the House. The House is completely proportional with population. It's based up.
I don't look. There are too many red states that have too high of an electoral count.
Yeah,
we should just go by popular vote. every time.
No, that's dumb. I'm sorry. The majority, dude, the democracy, the reason why is because you don't want the tyranny of the majority. You can't have 60% of the people deciding what, and fuck the other 40%. Fuck all the minority.
Well, I mean, look at
And the
Canada.
black people, dude. Fuck the like LGBT dude. Fuck them, dude. 99% of people out there will fuck them all, dude. Like that's dumb.
You're clipping that bit.
Well, look at Kansas.
Bro, I'm
Look
sorry.
at what just happened in Kansas.
You're talking about the Senate, okay? You're not talking about the House because the House is like the number of electoral college votes are directly assigned based on population, and the population comes from the census. And California has so many illegal immigrants that they actually have more electoral college votes than they should. Okay. On top of that,
I'm okay with that.
that's popular vote. The Senate is exactly where the whole point is that every state should have 2 representatives. That's exactly right, because you do not want some place where the majority dictate to the minority what they do. And the reason why is because there's issues that affect urban individuals are not the same as issues that affect people in are not urban areas. You live in agricultural areas. If you don't need a gun if you live in the city. You need a gun if you're fucking farming or living in a small town, because the police are fucking 2 hours away. What the fuck? On top of that, like the zoning restrictions are different. Like these laws are different. And if people cluster in cities, so like that, that's a stupidest idea. What the problem is, the goddamn, the filibuster in the Senate. That's the problem. It was a problem in the House and they got rid of it. Good. The problem is the fucking filibuster, because it's like, bro, you already have the balance there of the Senate, which is meant to stop the tyranny of the majority. Why the fuck? Yeah, dude, now with the filibuster, 100% that's fucking dumb, that's gone too far one side. It's not in the Constitution. It's some stupid, like, electoral rule that they made up. Like, it was like 19, they just made it up, dude. Like, Harold Law. Oh, bro, this Harold guy is a parliamentarian. He's like, oh, bro, I don't think I'm gonna. It's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then on top of that, like, it's so irritating because if you win majority, you should be allowed to govern. That's it. If you win the House and the Senate, you should be allowed to pass laws. The Republicans win, then Republicans pass laws. The Democrats win, the Democrats pass laws. That's why we have fucking terms. So it'll take 4 years, and then you pass bad legislation, just fucking pass good legislation later. The fact that nothing happens, and Congress, bro, they love doing nothing. They love it, dude.
But look at polling. Says that 70% of the American populace is in favor of Roe v. Wade. And yet a few assholes who lied during the confirmation.
Because Congress is supposed to pass legislation. That's not the Supreme Court's job. It was a bad outcome, but it was a good legal decision. That's exactly what the legal decision should have been. But it was a terrible outcome. Of course, abortion should be legal. It's like, bro, states' rights. Like, bro, you're not fucking Kansas. You don't own Kansas. You're not the king of Kansas. What the fuck do you care about Kansas?
But the thing they never stop to think about is like the interstate commerce laws, that Congress can't make laws that affect the ability of a company to do
Sanctuary Cities out literally national law and nothing happened. Okay. So on top of that, this is exactly the problem, because Congress doesn't do anything. It's been fucking 50 years and no one, it's supermajority. How easy would it be?
Yeah, they had the chance with their supermajority.
That's who's to blame.
And everyone likes to talk about how Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a hero, and she was, but Obama kindly asked her to retire so he could replace someone else. And she refused, and then she died under Trump's watch. What the hell do you think is going to happen?
He wanted to retire under a woman. That's exactly right. That was unbelievably idiotic, right? And like, this all comes back to the fact that people don't vote, dude. And it's so stupid that people vote for them. Like when push comes to shove, they'll vote for like they'll fall in line. Like, dude, Republicans didn't like Trump, but when push came to shove, all the Christians and shit voted fall in line. None of the Democrats right now want Joe Biden. Everyone hates Joe Biden. But like there was like a poll recently. It's like, yeah, not against Donald Trump. They'll all fall in line. 97% or whatever, 93%. And the problem is, it's like, motherfucker, these Congress people, they're not enemies. from the different party. They're co-workers. Yeah, dude, they go on and they talk shit about each other, but they all do that because you'll see Lindsey Graham and fucking Kamala Harris yucking it up at a fucking congressional meeting, just laying out. They don't give like they're co-workers. They don't give a fuck. So the dumbest thing is the fact that even if you have two parties, let's just assume that, forget, obviously third party's the answer, but forget that. Even with two parties, bro, if you have with Joe Manchin, okay, and Kristen Sinema, all of the fucking Democrats who are pissed off that he's not doing anything, vote for a Republican. Put a fucking Republican in that seat and you fucking watch. If the progressives literally voted for a Republican and they made a campaign to do that, you fucking watch just how quickly progressive specific policies will get pushed to the Democratic Party. Politicians are such cowards. You don't even have to do it. Like almost sudden, like go do it, like lie about it. Have a 6-month campaign and right at the end, just don't vote, just vote Democrat. Or lie, just scare them. Just watch, dude. You do it once or twice. Okay. It's same thing with the Republicans. And so I don't understand if the senators and politicians work together, why the progressive and libertarian action political committees, voters don't work together to try and push through policies that they want from their own fucking party. Like, as you can tell, this is shit really pissed off.
Where's the beautiful rant?
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Brent, what do you think?
Well, this is why conspiracies form around politics. Like you just said, they are just co-workers. You know, it's easy to see why people think that they just have a secret handshake.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, we have that iconic photo of W sharing a mint with Michelle Obama at, I forget which funeral it was, but that was kind of cute.
Yeah. I want to bring it back to...
That's exactly what I was thinking. I've diverted this conversation so much. But
I want to bring it back to something that we were talking about when Trump was elected. And for myself, that was a striking moment that kind of actually started to help me come out of the rabbit hole. Because back to the election, leaders are selected, not elected. You know, I could not see how he was part of the New World Order, you know, and if the New World Order was really operating, it would be Hillary, surely. And at the same time, here in England, we had obviously Brexit happen, you know, and that obviously was breaking apart any kind of one world government happening. And just those moments for me actually broke down the conspiracy. Whereas it's quite interesting that it actually birthed a whole new conspiracy in QAnon. I found that very interesting. Before we didn't have a hero, but with this new conspiracy, there all of a sudden was this hero that was gonna, you know, take down the cabal. It's quite, I find just that moment in time very interesting with my journey and then other people's journey.
Can I be honest? That is exactly what hooked me onto Q. And I've said this almost exactly the same thing multiple times in several interviews. I'm sure Steph has heard me say this before, that the hook initially was that, like you said, all the conspiracies I've heard before is about the bad guys. It's always the bad guy doing something, you know, the cabal or aliens or your neighbor who puts his trash in your recycling, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but this conspiracy was about the good guys. And not only that, the good guys had already won. It was all that's the cute deal. It's just the show. It's just a TV show. But regardless, exactly the same thought as you, Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump. These were not part of the establishment. So that 100%, I think there's a lot to that. What do you think, Steph?
I do, because I was telling someone the other day that, I used to be a Newt Gingrich fan. I even got a little Newt tattoo on my pelvis. And when people ask me what it is now, I just tell them, oh, it's cute. But and I mean, it's like a newt, like a salamander. It's not actually his face, but he appealed to me because
A little
something
newt
so-
salamander with his face on it.
yeah, there was something so appealing from a punk rock sensibility. And you saw this again with Donald Trump. You saw Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, and both of them had a very punk rock platform because their platform was essentially fuck you, except Bernie Sanders was saying, excuse me, sir, kindly go fuck yourself, whereas Trump was saying fuck you. But there is still something very punk about that. And I think that we had, the excuse me punk rock and the fuck you punk rock. We had the guy that would pick you up in the mosh pit and the guy that would smash your face if you fell in the mosh pit. And then in the middle of that, you had Hillary. And that was just, if it had been Bernie versus Trump, I think Bernie would have won. Because a lot of those people that were going to go vote for Bernie, their initial punk rock, fuck the power, Rage Against the Machine politician, Bernie, he didn't make it and he got fucked over by Hillary's pals. And so then they were faced with Donald Trump or Hillary. And the whole thing was set up for failure.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I think it's definitely like almost certain if Bernie ran, that they would have won. Bernie definitely has a lot more at the time had a lot more appeal across the political spectrum, right? And fundamentally, it was a change election. Like people wanted change, like terror. Like Donald Trump represented a change, like a terrifying change, but a change nonetheless. And I think the craziest thing with the polls around Donald Trump, obviously we all remember the polls being way off, right? 2016, but they were more off in 2020. They were even more off than they were in 2016. So the only real explanation I've been able to kind of gather, which is obviously another conspiracy, really kind of, is that there's there's such a taboo around saying you're a Trump supporter. There was then, there's even more now that people don't even want to admit to random people in posters that they would vote for Donald Trump. And I definitely think obviously no one voted for Joe Biden. They literally voted against Donald Trump. So I think the right has a big issue understanding that, yeah, just like you guys love Donald Trump, people also hate him. So there was Joe Biden, obviously. Yeah, anyway. What do you think, Brent?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like in England, we had a similar vibe going because we had Jeremy Corbyn versus Boris Johnson. And there's very similar characters to, Trump and Bernie.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's actually a really strong parallel between British politics and Australian politics, which it doesn't sound too crazy because we literally both even use the same system, right? The Westminster system. But the crazy thing is that, yeah, at that time, we had the same thing. We had Scott Morrison and we had Bill Shorten. And it was crazy how bad the left-wing party got destroyed by the right-wing party because it was unexpected. Same thing happened with Boris Johnson. You had, candidates that had voted Labour, right? For over 100 years voting for the Conservative Party, right? And even now the same things happened, that Boris Johnson's gone, right? And our same thing happened with our Conservative, that the left-wing party has come into power since first time in 10 years, right? And they've actually done some good stuff. The first thing the Prime Minister did was raise the minimum wage, which is really, it's just impressive and nice when things get done. But yeah, I think there's a similarity, but America's definitely it's in a league of its own. It's unique.
Yeah, we're always faster.
That's not what I meant. What I meant was that, I guess coming back to conspiracy theories, because it's hard to separate conspiracy theories from politics and social and just everyday life. the whole groomer thing, right? Like, the thing is, the right say that they use groomer in the same way that they criticize the left for using like such hyperbolic terms, right? Like fascist. Like, oh yeah, like, and technically it's not a fascist, but like A leads to B and C lives next door to D, and then D met E once, and then I go ipso facto F, fascist. And like, but they use groomer exactly the same way. They're like, we're not saying literally these people are pedophiles. We're saying every now and again there's some person on TikTok who literally talks openly about sex and whatnot in front of kindergartners. Like, we don't like, it's kind of similar to grooming, and it's kind of like blah blah blah. And then everyone forgets that was like the issue. Obviously, like, why would the left think that? Like, it slots nicely into the whole like LGBT, like previous existing slur, right? But the right now literally uses that unironically. And they literally, and there's no way, I cannot prove this, but I do not think for 1 second, if QAnon existed, that this groomer kind of thing would have caught on with the right as much, because the whole thing about QAnon is about pedophiles. Like, that's the number one main thing that everyone knows. And
because they have to cover up their crime, because we're seeing more and more every day. Oh, this QAnon politician was busted for a sex offense back in. We're seeing it more and more every day.
Yeah, there's a lot of pedophiles around there. And like, one thing that always bothered me about the Republicans is like, why is the age of consent in marriage so low in a few of these states, dude? Like 14, 15, like.
And they're all red states. They're all red states.
No abortion in the case of incest. Really? Incest, pedophile, no abortion? Okay. That's a little weird. Like, it seems a strange thing to be pro. I don't think Jesus would be pro incest or fucking rape. But I definitely think that every day I see Republicans in politics, like the whole election fraud thing, that was straight from QAnon, dude. That was directly lifted from the HM boards. And I've said this, but I haven't explained this well. I need to really show people that the frequency, that all these specific points, like Dominion voting, Venezuelan voting machines, like, this crazy shit about, I don't know what it was, like the paper or something like that. Like, these specific points were first mentioned on the QAnon boards before they were mentioned in the mainstream media and the public. On top of that, there was a flurry of activity about Dominion voting specifically just before, like, Rudy Giuliani and like all those, like, with the whatever, I can't remember the girl's name, I forgot. But they came out and started talking about it. On top of that, like Sidney Powell and whatnot, they go to like basically QAnon conferences where they speak. They say every QAnon, they talk and act exactly like cultists, and they just never mention the word QAnon. They even say where we go one, we go all. And just this, even more than that, dude, Ron Watkins, who was like, we all know who Ron Watkins is, right? The admin of HM. He was on, God, I don't know why I forget this. Such an important point. It was like, what was that? OAN, I think. It was like, he was on OAN, and Trump tweeted out his interview, and literally all he was doing was regurgitating shit straight from the HM port. And Trump tweeted that out. And the second he did that, it was like, boom, that is mainstream Republican Trump supporter idea. Now, if Trump tweets something out, that's it. Like, Covfefe fucking became a meme dude, right? Like, so there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that there's someone at OAN who literally is a Q follower and has been mainlining a couple of these things into the public sphere of Trump supporters. And I don't think the problem with that is that it sounds like a conspiracy.
Well,
Right.
yeah, this is what I was going to say. Like, however, is this more like a relationship between how propaganda is conspiracy theory? Like, so are these people using conspiracism as like propaganda to get you on their side?
No, I think that essentially, in loose terms, that the Republican Party and the right is downstream from QAnon. And there are things that are directly from originating QAnon and flow on downstream through their channels, like all the way to the top, to the point where Donald Trump is now dude, Dominion voting was mentioned on the QAnon boards in 2018. I knew about Dominion voting. I had heard it. So when it was repeated in a press conference on national television, it was like bizarre. It was bizarre for me to see this repeated like that.
Mm-hmm. Was it confirming?
No, I'd long since left QAnon by then.
But did it like I don't know.
No,
you know,
it was a no, it wasn't, dude. Like this, none of this surprised me. Like the day before the election, I had an interview with like a great guy called Nick, right? And we were talking about the election. I was like, bro, if there's any like sort of weird sense of impropriety with the voting, if there's any like dodgy Twitter video, anything like that, bro, they will lock onto fraud. It was a fraud straight away. Like it's there. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, and I just pulled up QAnon.pub, which is one of the aggregator sites, and I did a search for the word voting, and it's taken me back to February 17th, 2019, March 23rd, 2020.
No, forget that.
Was already posting about the voting.
Go to your, let me show you, let me literally share my screen. Let me just show you something. Okay. Yeah, can you just enable SAP?
Yeah, let me figure out how do I do that. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Look, see what I can do. It'll take like 1 second. This exactly proves my point.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if it's here. Share screen.
Let me just delete a few.
But automatically now Windows still opening automatically. I can't.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Even better, type in this web address. Okay. Type in Q research, like the letter Q, and then read the word research. Okay.
Okay.
And then between the R and the C, put a dot.
You put a period. Yep.
And then press enter. And Brent, do this as well.
Okay.
This is the best Q website for any kind of research you will ever find. Okay. Ever. I have not really advertised this because I don't want it to become popular, because then it will get taken down. Okay. So for the love of God, don't tell anyone unless you really need to. Okay. And like, thank God this is the first episode of your podcast. Thank God. If it was 100, it would be stuff. But so this literally has a record of every single post on the 8chan and 8kun Q research board and other boards since inception. It has so many other resources. So all you have to type in, go to the search bar on the top right and just type in Dominion voting. Okay. And then once it loads, because sometimes it's a little slow.
Yeah, the search option in QAnon.pub isn't very good.
No, dude, that's just a record of QAnon posts. What I'm talking about is what other people have said in response to Q, the Q community. Like the
community?
Oh my God, please just work, dude. So
I know it isn't working for me either.
So when it does, at some point do this, okay? Then go to the last page. There's only like 12 pages only. There's like 100,000 of posts. So go to the last, it's in reverse ascending order. Go to the chronicle order. Go to the last page. Go to like the most recent, the first kind of few posts. Look at the dates. Just look at the frequency of this term used. Watch how it's look at it and see if it looks like it's infrequently mentioned every now and again. And then just before the election, it was all over the place. Now, this is just a hypothesis. I haven't really looked into it too much, right? But that's essentially what I mean when I say like the Republicans are downstream. So the
Aganon. That's what I call it. Aganon.
It will be funny if it wasn't scary, because there's one problem that, and like obviously, dude, not everything, okay? But like, remember Clarence Thomas's wife, dude? Okay, like this is what I'm talking about. But not everything. Okay, it's not like fucking or immigration policy, right? That's not like straight from QAnon. There's like, it's just certain things. So the issue is that now you essentially have a conspiracy you essentially have Donald Trump believing in things that originate from a conspiracy about him. So he's repeating things. Few people see that. That's cemented this idea that this is true. And then it goes around in circles. And then they go on from that. It comes back. So there's like a perpetual feedback cycle. How do I explain this phenomenon to anyone? This is so bizarre. This is so ridiculous. It's so absurd. And it sounds like a conspiracy. That's the problem, where it's really just like a social perspective, like just a academic observation, right? But because it sounds like a conspiracy, bro, I don't want to fucking be anywhere near it, dude.
I don't want to touch it either.
I'm like, dude, I don't want to know. I'm not going to look into this anymore. I'm just going to ignore it and say la me. I hate being associated with any kind of conspiracy ever. I hate them all. Tell me what you guys think. How do you feel about conspiracies now?
I'm still fascinated by them. Doing a different podcast completely about like exploring the conspiracy from the inside out, basically.
Yeah, that's academic insight into it, which is great. That's exactly what you should do, right?
We spend about like 3-4 hours on the podcast. We spend a month researching it, about 5 hours recording it, and then a month editing it down and adding all the sources and everything.
Do you believe in any conspiracy theories now?
All right. I'm coming at it again from I'm pressing like reset and everything, and coming from I don't know anymore. So when it comes to JFK, I don't know anymore. I need to go and look at it again, because I know what I used to believe, and I need to just reevaluate it. I do tend to believe there's a lot more corrupt. I think the real conspiracies that I believed in were probably more based in like corrupt things that were going on in the world, but as opposed to like your general conspiracy theories, I don't know. I have to go look back at them. And that's what I want to do with my other podcast.
What about you,
Steph? Yeah.
You're a big conspiracy theorist. You still are.
January 6th was a conspiracy. Not a conspiracy theory. It was a conspiracy.
What about?
And, well, we've seen what the hearings, we've seen, I know. Pence was afraid to get
No, you're jumping the gun. What is so the truth about January 6th, as I understand, is that you essentially had a whole bunch of Trump supporters who were really riled up because they thought the election was stolen. You had a few agitators, more extreme people in the crowd. There was a really there was really a vibe in the air that this was different. There was a slight that Donald Trump gave the speech. He did say, he said stuff like be peaceful and stuff, but it's obvious he didn't really mean it. His heart wasn't in those words. And then when he saw the Capitol being attacked, the police did let them in because there's only like a few dozen people. What are they going to do? Like take out some ballots? This is the dumbest thing ever. And they walked in, and then eventually there's too many of them. They got into a crowd, and Donald Trump didn't say stop because he was feeling so happy this was happening, because to him, it was cathartic, because he felt like he had been maligned by the mainstream media and whatever, the politicians, and this was revenge. So that's my understanding of the general perception, okay? But you're saying that this was an orchestrated attack was like a legit...
and we did see it come out in the January 6th hearings, the correspondence between the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, and now the biggest thing.
So those were agitate in the crowd.
This was just related to us on Thursday. We're going to find out.
But this is
like more.
It sounds like external people. The whole conspiracy would have to be they would have to be colluding again with the Trump administration directly.
And also the other legitimate, real conspiracy that we just saw play out the last 2 weeks was the Sandy Hook stuff, Alex Jones knew that what he was saying was bullshit.
Yeah, he had been told.
And yeah, he was formed by Rob Jacobson. He was even Paul Joseph Watson, who was a complete shitball fascist.
Yeah.
He was even saying this is not good for our brand and blah, 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 blah. And they had all the, so that was a conspiracy. I mean, they had those emails saying Wolfgang Halberg is a terrorist. And
they did ratings. And that is not, that's not a conspiracy. That's right there. And the thing that really struck me was that, bro, if Alex Jones and InfoWars hadn't promoted Q and this anonymous leaker, initially, it never would have caught on. Because there was this like the 14th anonymous leaker on that year on 4chan.
Yeah, they had FBI anon. All that.
One of them went crazy thinking Julian Assange was talking directly to her. And like
Julian Assange was talking to Roger Stone, who did work for Alex.
Dude, Roger Stone never visited Julian Assange. That way he lied to talk himself up. They literally did, bro. That's like literally on official record. Paul Manafort never visited. Like with this step, these are obvious, objectively true things that you do not know as someone who's supposed to have been looking at this for several years. So it stands to think that there are other objectively correct things which you are unaware of, which I suggest you look into disproving the conspiracy. That's always a good argument. Don't be authentic. Don't be like, anyway, I'll talk to you about it later. But my point is, InfoWars, they promoted it initially and because they wanted to get traffic, they got a lot of interest. And the second QAnon disavowed Alex Jones and said, like this board is like no outside comms, right? Alex Jones turned against him because he was losing traffic, which really is, I feel like that's a direct shot in the heart. The fact that Alex Jones, I'm not saying he's lying. I'm saying he believed the ends justify the means, that it's okay to do this in order to raise money to fight this actual cabal because that they won't stop. So why, they have no boundaries. So he shouldn't either. Some shit like that.
Yeah, I believe the same. I think we should wrap it up now though, because it's a bit late for me now.
I know.
I'm so sorry about my rant.
No, it's late. It's late for you guys. I know. And I'm just going to go back to watching some more Sandman. So.
No, I definitely talk too much. Like, this is a good thing it was the first because I was ranting for like an hour. I literally just realized.
We became friends after our first interview. So, I mean.
I ranted so much. That's why we were friends, because you were listening to my 3-hour rant.
It was an epic interview. It was great. Right. And I always enjoy talking.
All right, shut up. Yeah. Brent, I would be very happy to be back, talk to you anytime. Happy to read you this episode, prepare, whatever. I definitely feel like I owe you a better show. So, but yeah.
And I'll send
definitely
recording, Brent.
I'm done. I want to go. I know. It's not my first rodeo. It's not the first time I've ranted.
But this was fun and this was cathartic and this was like,
I think
a conspiragasm.
We need preparation. Like, we can't just sort of off the cuff, which is like vague, rough points you want to hit.
Yeah.
Like, right? Questions for each other. I think that we should definitely have mute our mics so we don't talk over each other as well.
Yeah.
That's always good. And yeah, I like this was a great conversation, bro. There's so much to talk about. Like, I hope you guys kill it, dude. 100%. I'll be happy to fucking do whatever, anytime.
Yeah. Why don't you just come back every month? Why don't we
I would love that. I'll do an update. I'll give you guys an update on the conspiracy world, like stuff that's going on.
Why don't we just do us three having this conversation once a month? Talk about what's been going on.
I'm very happy to do.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to do it. As long as I don't have to do anything else. Okay, like website's fine because I'm too busy. But I will. It was once when.
Don't have to do nothing. Just turn up and let's talk. Basically, we'll talk about whatever the hell's been going on in the past month and try and relate it to moments in our life as being conspiracists.
We'll be discussing our unusual belief together. Yeah,
perfect. Okay, done. And like, I guess prepare how you want. Like, you don't want to write anything down, don't fucking write anything down. I probably will, otherwise I'm off topic. It's been a pleasure.
Same.
Yeah. I'll see you guys.
The start of a beautiful relationship.
Wonderful. All right,
I'll
man.
see you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.